but they start off the schedule with 4 straight here at the Spec. For Temuque, the starters today at the guard spots are Danielle Midor, Brene Thompson, and Rachel Tapp. That this is a St. Mary's squad that a year ago went 9-5, finished 3rd in the Heartland Conference, and finished 2nd the year before that, going 21-7. This is Coach Jason Martin's 13th season at the helm of this program. Wade Scott for the Havs in his 5th year leading this team. And the tip taken by Hutchins to Brene Thompson, and she tosses it back to Rachel Taps. Taps top of the key for Thompson. Timur looking for the early score. Hutchins trying to come out for a pick as Taps drives in. Thompson for a 3, and it's 3-0 Hogs. This is a Temuque team that has prided itself usually on defense. And through 2 games, they've allowed 40 and 37 points this season. Banks on the far side, driving in for a layup blocked, but the foul will go on Temuque. And they call that one on Rachel Taps. And that's the first, as you would expect, for either team here at the 9-10 mark in the first half. And the first foul shot is no good from the sophomore guard from Round Rock, Texas. And second free throw in and out, so the Hogs escaped that possession with still a 0 on the scoreboard. Taps to Thompson. Looking for a pass inside was Lane, but she comes out to get it in the corner. Up for a layup, no good, but a foul drawn by Danielle Meter. And she'll try 2. First free throw is up and good. Metter hit 6 free throws in Kingsville's win over Chadron State on Saturday and reached the 10-point total in that game. And second one makes it 5-0 Javelinas. So Metter on the board with 2. And a loose press played by the Hogs. Ball far side for Torres. And Banks moving to the far side. St. Mary's trying to get that offense working. Jump shot won't go. Rebound, though, comes right to Porter. And the possession will restart. Walla giving it back to Porter. Banks gets her defender in the air. Drives, has it blocked by Hutchins. And it's defensive plays like that that are the reason that Wade Scott and his coaching staff recruited the 6'4" Nicole Hutchins to come to Kingsville. That's her 4th block of the season. Banks trying to get it in, ends up throwing it up top to Porter. Torres, now inside Wilson trying to work it in the block. We get a whistle and a travel. We'll give the ball back to Temuque. Lane into Taps. The junior from Cypress Ranch, Texas, playing the point. Taps gets it back. Hutchins wants it inside, gets it working on Wilson. Ball lost out of bounds, but it will stay with the blue and gold. Taps finds Metter in the corner, gets it right back. Good defense, and the ball taken away by Torres, heading in his banks. And she'll turn it over again on the offensive foul. So that is the first foul against St. Mary's. And starting lineup still on the floor for both teams as we are under 8 minutes here in the first quarter. Kingsville ahead 5-0. Metter, Thompson, now Lane on the far side, the senior transfer. Hutchins. Thompson thinking about driving into Hutchins. Tried to pass it into the corner, right into the arms of Torres, but the ball came back to the Javelinas. And shot clock will be put to 28. And shot clock, such a delicate operation. Referees always trying to stay on top of it. And Metter to inbound it. Lane with a jump shot, nothing but net. Lane, who came here from Alcorn State, puts Temuque up 7-0. The drive and the bucket for Meredith Markham, and she draws the foul. And they get Metter for the foul. So Metter and Taps each with one foul for Temuque. Free throw good. And so St. Mary's within 4. Taps with the pass taken away by Markham, but then she lost it out of bounds. Good defensive play by the freshman guard. Just couldn't keep her mitts on the basketball. Taps leading this blue and gold offense. Thompson, one of the few returners on this squad, feeds it for Taps. Thompson gets it back. Now Taps in the corner will try a 3, no good. And racing ahead quickly is Porter. Up to Markham. Rattlers trying to cut into what was a 7-0 lead. Jumper no good. Rebounded by Wilson. Putback doesn't go, but she draws a foul. This one might be on Hutchins. And they do get that one on Hutchins. 3 fouls for Temuque, evenly distributed at this point. And with 6.5 to go, 2 shots for the sophomore Hannah Wilson. And the first one will not go. And St. Mary's, to start this game, 1 of 4 on free throws. Vicky Salinas in for Metter. Wilson's second free throw off the iron goes through. She must be living right. 7 of 4 is the score. Salinas now to Lane. Lane wanted to get that inside, instead back to Salinas. Hutchins, Thompson. Temuque scored the first 7 points. Their lead is now 7 of 4. Taps right in, lost the handle on the ball. It comes to Walla. Torres gets the pick into Wilson on Hutchins. Hutchins too strong for her. Now Thompson almost lost it, but draws a foul. And that one's going to be on Markham. Each team now with 3. In comes Bridget Upton. To the bench goes Rachel Taps. Of course, early in the season, both of these teams trying to work out their rotation. Salinas tries to get it in, ends up passing it right to Walla. The jump ball is called, possession arrow favoring St. Mary's. And Salinas just couldn't find a white uniform to get that to. Tamuk coming into this game shooting 28% on the season. St. Mary's at 41%. Tamuk also averaging 16 turnovers. And St. Mary's forcing 22 turnovers with plays like that thus far in the young season. Pretty layup goes through by Porter. And 7 straight points by the Hogs, followed by 6 straight for the Rattlers. We have a 1-point game. Salinas trying to dribble away, now heading into the paint. Right, wild layup doesn't go. And the Rattlers with a chance to take the lead for the first time. A 3 from Walla. No good. Loose rebound, though, comes to the Rattlers. Porter gets it, she'll try again. That one won't go. Lane fights for the board. Now Thompson on the floor, bobbles it. Tries to get to Lane. It comes to Wilson. And I think they're going to get Brene Thompson for a foul. And for Brene Thompson, that's her first. 4 on Tamuk. And we'll take our first break of the night here with the Spec. The score, the Javelina 7, the Rattlers 6, halfway through the first quarter. Be right back on the Javelina Sports Network. Lydia Garral on for Tamuk. So Garral, Lane, Thompson, Salinas, and Upton are on the floor for Wade Scott. Inbounding it is Walla to Porter. 7-6 is the score. Thompson guarding Porter, who gets a pick. Right side of 3 from Markham. Good. And St. Mary's has its first lead of the night. Upton guarded by Walla. A 9-0 run for St. Mary's. In the corner, Salinas for a 3, and that's good. Salinas probably the best pure shooter on this Javelina squad. And looked every bit that part right there. Walla couldn't go, but Salinas, oh no, they're going to say that was out of bounds off of St. Mary's. Thought that Vicky Salinas got a piece for the referee with a better view than me. Upton on the left side, guarding closely by Markham. Into the corner, now it comes back out all the way to Salinas up top. Lane sets a pick. Tried to roll to the basket. Salinas trying to get it to her, has to bring it back out. Garral with the jumper would not go. Porter controls it. Near side, a three by Markham, good. Her third triple, or I should say her second, to go along with the three-point play in this game. She's already up to 9 points. And the Rattlers back in front 12-10. Both of these teams trying to establish their footing in the early part of this season. Into Thompson. Set Garrell. Now Lane will try a three. That won't go, and kept in by Markham. St. Mary's with a 2-point lead, trying to set up their offense. Porter out. Walla drives in, layup no good, but she draws the foul. That'll be one on Salinas, so the Javelinas are now over the limit with 2:47 to play here before we end the first quarter. And first free throw is good. So Walla is on the score sheet. Taps and Metter come in, as does Reve Payne. Second free throw by Walla is good. She hits them both. And now we'll head to the bench as Maya Culliver will come in. Taps running the point again for Tamuk. Garral setting a pick. Near side for Salinas. Tamuk with a bit of a smaller lineup with Hutchins on the bench right now. Layup attempt by Salinas, no good. Taps fighting for the rebound, but gets called for a foul. Trying to force a jump ball. Tamuk owns the possession arrow right now. But this instead will be 2 shots for St. Mary's. And I guarantee you that is not what Coach Wade Scott had in mind when he brought Taps back into the game. Two free throws for Culliver. She hits the first one. And there's a real chance we might not see Rachel Taps again until the second half as Brene Thompson re-enters. Second free throw is good. Culliver hits them both. This is now a 16-3 run for St. Mary's. Try to drive in is Payne. Draws the foul on the arm bar, courtesy of Markham. That's 2 on her. And quickly Torres is summoned off the bench. And now St. Mary's is 1 off the bonus. Salinas inbounded up top to Payne. Metter trying to get it inside to Salinas, a little bit too high. And a turnover for Kingsville. That is their 6th turnover of the quarter. Thomas trying to drive, now tries to get it out. Corner for Culliver, gets her defender in the air, but good recovery by Metter. Porter wants to drive. Right side, Culliver will try a three, no good. Salinas tips the rebound to herself, and now bring it up the court. 16-10 is our score in the first quarter. Thompson, corner for Payne. Inside, good pass, and Metter's there for the layup. Good teamwork between Payne and Metter. And Tamuk gets back on the board within 4. Left-handed layup is good by Porter. Pretty bucket by her. And St. Mary's lead is back up to 6. Payne trying to drive into the corner, draws the foul on Torres. That'll be 1 on her. Hutchins in, Salinas out. And Hannah Wilson will enter the game as well, replacing Audrey Wanji. One minute and 11 seconds before we hit the end of the first quarter. Into Payne. Grout Left block, jump shot by Hutchins, couldn't get it to go, and St. Mary's wise, just lets it bounce out of bounds. And they'll regain possession. And Torres running the point for the visitors. Thomas up top. Right-handed shot off the backboard. Well done by Crystal Thomas. And those are her first 2 points. St. Mary's up by 8. Payne wants to drive. Almost lost the handle, but gets it right back. And then draws the foul on Torres. And that will be 2 shots on the Javelinas as Torres picks up her first. That's 5 on St. Mary's. Here is Payne. First free throw up and good. Second one for the sophomore from Pearland is good as well. She has hit every free throw she's taken this season. I didn't want to say that before she took the shots because always seems to be a jinx involved there. Temuka within 6. On the far side, Porter. St. Mary's can't hold for the last shot, but they can wind this down to about 5 seconds. Left side, Torres. Right side for Porter, drives in for a jumper, too strong, and now Temuka can hold for the last shot. There are about 10 seconds to play. Metter on the near side wants to drive in, throws up a wild layup, gets called for a travel with 6 seconds to go. And I think Metter was expecting the call for the foul. And with 6 seconds left, St. Mary's will try for one more shot. Left side, Torres with a buzzer, no good. And that is how the first quarter will end. 20-14 is our score after 10 minutes of play. So Temuka leads 7-0 early on, but St. Mary's scores 20 of the final 27 points. And we go to the second quarter with the score 20-14. St. Mary's will be right back on the Javelina Sports Network. Temuka trailing by 6 as the second quarter is about to get underway. Temuka 4 of 10 over the course of the first 10 minutes. A little better percentage than St. Mary's, who shot 37% compared to 40 for Temuka, but the Rattlers are also out-rebounded the Javelinas 10-6. And the difference in that margin is the 4 offensive rebounds the Rattlers grabbed. The Hogs without a single offensive board so far in this game. Payne, Lane, Hutchins, Thompson, and Metter on the court for the Javelinas. Thomas, Torres, Walla, Wilson, and Culliver for St. Mary's. The near side, Thompson, now Metter, left on a Hutchins pick. Payne with 15 on the shot clock. Thompson trying to get inside, a whistle, and I believe they'll get Culliver for the foul, and that is the call. So a quick foul picked up here in the second quarter by St. Mary's after both teams hit their limit in the first quarter. Metter for Payne. Thompson sitting for pick is Lane. Thompson in for a left-handed layup, not strong enough, but she does draw a foul. And that is number 1 on Hannah Wilson. So St. Mary's, just like that, not even 30 seconds into this corner, they have 2 fouls against them. Thompson's first free throws off the iron, no good. Javelina's at 70% from the foul line coming into tonight. And that was their first miss from the charity stripe this evening. Second one is good. And Thompson has 4 points. Hogs within 5. Culliver being guarded by Payne. Torres for Walla. Halfway through the shot clock. Near side, Culliver will try a 3. That one won't go. Skying for the rebound is Metter. Ahead quickly for Thompson. Now to toss it back for Metter, but it has it stolen by Thomas. And Culliver has it knocked away by Lane. It comes to Walla. Double team. She makes her way into the paint. Wide open is Wilson. Easy layup for the sophomore. Rattlers back in front by 7. Payne for Thompson. Hutchins sets up the pick. Back out to Payne. We'll try a guarded 3. No good. Hutchins tries to tip the rebound out, but it comes to Wilson anyway. St. Mary's asking for a foul, but they get possession instead. Culliver. Walla will try a 3. Good. She's St. Mary's leading scorer entering tonight, averaging 18 points in 2 games. And with the deficit at 10, the Javelinas will call a timeout. Walla scored 21 during St. Mary's last game when they played Tarleton State. And she had 15 against Texas Women's. Rattlers went 1-1 against a pair of conference opponent for the conference rivals for the Javelinas in the Pioneers and then the Texans. And they will complete a 4-game swing against the Lone Star Conference on Saturday, or make that Friday when they play UT Permian Basin at 4 p.m. For Temuque, as mentioned, they get a week off after this game, and then they'll play Texas A&M International back here at the Spec at 5:30. That will be the first game and what will be the first Javelina basketball doubleheader of the year. And Temuque will play International at 5:30 right before the men play the Dust Devils at around 7:30 that evening. So be sure to join us for both games. And don't forget the Javelina men play tomorrow at 7 p.m. against the St. Mary's men's squad. Payne and Temuque trying to eat into a 10-point deficit. It's the largest lead of the night for either team. Brianna Solis, who checks in. Pass for Payne, right side. Right-handed layup, not enough on it. Rebounded by Torres. And the Rattlers with a chance to really grab hold of all the momentum here as we near the 7.5-minute mark in the second quarter. Walla will try another 3. That one in and out. Rebound to Lane. Lane maintains control, heads right into the paint for a floater. Good, but an offensive foul. That's the first foul of the quarter against the Javelinas, and Wade Scott not pleased with the call. Rattlers trying to build on a double-digit advantage. Out for Porter, she'll try a 3, no good. So Lees brings it up. Up top, Lane will try a long 2 and hits it. Gotta feel good for Brianna Solis to be back on the court. Had to sit out last season with an injury. But she is back and a part of this team in 2018-19, both on the floor and in the locker room. Three-pointer no good. Wilson gets the rebound. Now Porter moves left but travels. And St. Mary's will turn it over. Here is Bridget Upton. Upton, one of the freshmen on this squad, brings it up, so Lee's now with it. Hutchins to Upton. So Lee's trying to bring it inside. Right-handed layup, no good. Hutchins there for the board. Almost lost it. And St. Mary's forces a jump ball that'll give them possession. 6:06 to play here in the second quarter. Dubuque trailing by 8. Culliver goes out. Crystal Thomas comes in. Torres guarded by Upton. Now Thomas driving in on lane. Left side for Wilson. Good defense by Solis. Forced a loose ball that came to Brene Thompson. In for a jumper, no good, but Thompson does draw the foul. She'll try two. That's number 1 on Porter, the third on St. Mary's. 4 fouls total here in the second quarter. Two for Thompson. First one wouldn't go. Dubuque still trailing in the rebound department at 13-11 as Thompson makes the second one. 5 points for the junior from Houston. Walla out to Porter. Right on a pick by Wilson. Right side Torres, a long three off the backboard and in. And Torres with kind of a sheepish grin, but you'll take it every time. Lead back up to 10. And ball out of bounds. Javelina's maintained possession. Chili's looking for a receiver, has lane wide open, the top of the key. She'll try a three and hit it. Huge three there by Chloe Lane. Get the Javelinas back within 7. And now Porter with the team up 28-20, driving in. Right side, Walla will try a three. In and back through. In and out, and then back through the twine. And Walla has 8 points. Kingsville back down by 10. Upton has Solis come to receive the pass. Upton, Hutchins wants it inside, instead cross court for Thompson. Guarded by Porter, she'll put up a three. And that one lodges between the backboard and the rim. And our PA announcer Glenn Schultz announced the possession arrow. And now Crystal Thomas taking a leap as we need someone to get the basketball out. And Dennis, our assistant athletic director for finance, Dennis Hawkins, tosses another basketball in. And there we go. And we're back ready to play. And with the possession arrow favoring the Javelinas, they'll get possession. Tamook still trailing 31-21, but with possession, so Lee's to inbound. Right side lane over everything. So Lee's fighting for the rebound, and she forces a jump ball. And though St. Mary's owns the possession arrow, that will at least flip that arrow back to the Javelinas. Porter ahead to Walla. Left side along the baseline. Pass finds Thomas and a travel. And for St. Mary's, that's turnover number 5. The Javelinas with 10 thus far. Upton thinking about driving. Lane with it, give it back to Upton. Hutchins with a jumper, too much on it. Comes right to Porter. Trying to run the fast break. So Lee strips it out of her hand. It's out off the Javelinas. Offense will have to reset as Culver returns, replacing Torres. And head coach Jason Martin's keeping fresh legs on the court. Culver, Porter wants it up top for a 3, good. And for Porter, she has 7. And now Audrey Wanji returns for Hannah Wilson. 3:28 to go before halftime. St. Mary's ahead 34-21. Shirley's right side for a lane, up for a layup, but called for a travel. And St. Mary's with an edge in seems like every category on the stat sheet. Whether you look at field goal percentage, rebounds, turnovers. 3 from Culver, good. And with the lead up to 16 for the Rattlers, the score 37-21. Wade Scott will call a timeout. And Metter and Salinas preparing to check back in for the blue and gold. And Javelina's being outshot in field goal percentage 44-33. The St. Mary's with a 6 rebound edge in that category, 16-10 in terms of turnovers, 11 for the Hogs, 6 by the Rattlers. Rattlers also with a big edge in bench points, 16-5. And they have 4 players with at least 5 points: Markham, Walla, Porter, and Culver. For the Javelinas, Lane leads the team with 7. Ten different players have seen action for Tamook so far in this first half. Upton left for Salinas. Into the corner for Metter. Lane inside, right side Hutchins. Tamook trying to find a shot. Upton with a jumper, won't go. Metter up for the rebound, takes it away. Lane for Upton. Lane gets it back. Hutchins, shot clock at 15. Salinas in for Hutchins in the paint. Tosses it back out for Upton. Shot clock at 7. A 3 from Lane wouldn't go. And rebound comes to Wanji. Culver in, but right to Chloe Lane, who deflects it to Hutchins. Metter ahead. Kingsville trying to find a way to chip away at this deficit before we hit halftime. Lane for Salinas. touches the free throw line. Lane. Hook shot good. And Chloe Lane adds to her team leading total. She's got 9 points. Porter for St. Mary's, left to the leading scorer, Walla. Another 3 for Caitlin Walla. She has 11, and that leads all players. She is 3 of 7. Every field goal has been from beyond the arc for Caitlin Walla tonight. Metter for Salinas. Hutchins from the foul line. Pass for Upton gets deflected, and instead it comes to Porter. Porter heading in, Lane racing back to defend it. Layup is good. Porter has 9. This is the largest lead of the night for St. Mary's. It's the deficit for the Javelinas is 19. And this Temuco offense is Salinas tries a 3. Upton trying to tip the rebound to herself. It goes out of bounds. But they call it off St. Mary's. Hawks have just not been able to find a rhythm since the opening minutes when they scored the first 7 points. Salinas for Lane. Temuco's leading scorer with 9 points. Hutchins again at the foul line. Is it Upton? Upton will put up a 3. That won't go. Rebounded by Thomas. And a foul against the Javelinas as Metter going for the steal. That was the second foul of the quarter on the Javelinas. Metter has 2. And SMU content to hold for the last shot as they lead by 19. Porter with 8 to shoot. Near side, Culliver. Back to Walla. She'll try the 3 and hit it. And Caitlin Walla ends the half with 14 points. And 45 of the final 61 points of that half belonging to St. Mary's after Temuco opened the first 20 minutes with a 7-0 run. And St. Mary's heads to the locker room ahead by 22, 45-23. We'll take a quick break here on the Javelina Sports Network as we hit halftime. The Rattlers 45, the Javelinas 23. We'll be right back on the Javelina Sports Network. St. Mary's Rattlers with a 45-23 lead at the end of 1.5 of play here at the Spec. the third game of the year for the Texas A&M-Kingsville women's basketball program. The Hogs got off to a promising start in this game. They scored the first 7 points. But St. Mary's responding with a run to take a lead at the end of the first quarter by a score of 20-14. As a matter of fact, right after the Javelinas scored those first 7 points, the Rattlers went on a 16-3 run, and Temuka has really been unable to find its footing since then. St. Mary's outscored them in the second quarter by a score of 25-9, and for the most part, it's been Caitlin Walla who's been fueling this offense. 4 makes on 8 shot attempts. All of those shot attempts have come from three-point range. She came into this game averaging 18 points a game, and she is on pace to keep building on that average. She's got 14 so far in this one, as those 4 three-pointers have been complemented by a pair of free throws. Also, Aricia Porter and Meredith Markham with 9 points, and Markham only played 6 minutes. She picked up a couple of fouls quickly in the first quarter and did not play in the second, but made a pair of threes and converted on a three-point play prior to that. So she is among the leading scorers for St. Mary's so far in this one. Chloe Lane has been the most productive player on offense for the Javelinas. 4 of 7 from the field with a three-pointer. She has 9 points. She also has 3 rebounds to her credit. That leads the Javelinas. Porter and Hannah Wilson with 4 for St. Mary's. And the Rattlers really just dominant on the stat sheet so far. They're shooting an even 50% from the floor. They're 9 of 17 from 3, which is just a smidge under 53%. The rebound, St. Mary's ahead 18-12, including 6 offensive rebounds. And they've also forced 12 turnovers. They have 16 points as off of their bench. And they've converted Temuka 16 turnovers into 12 points. The Hogs have forced 7 turnovers themselves. They have 5 points off of those opportunities so far in this game. But this lead, as you might have guessed, the largest of the game so far for St. Mary's at 22 points. Javelinas have not led since that early 7-point deficit was whittled away. And the Javelinas obviously will be searching for an answer in the second half. This team I mentioned before really has prided itself on defense. This Javelina team prided itself on defense in the past. In the first 2 games of this season, they allowed 48 to the number 22 team in the country, Black Hills State, and held Chadron State to 37 points in picking up their first win of the year. But St. Mary's really has done an excellent job of finding shots, and when you're shooting 50%, you're also doing a great job just shooting the basketball. 15 of 30 through one half of play, and in the second quarter, the Rattlers sank 9 of 14, including 7 of 11 from 3. And 5 different players have connected from beyond the arc for the Rattlers: Walla, Markham, Torres, Porter, and Culliver. And again, both teams at this early stage in the season just trying to work out their rotation. But St. Mary's offense has been banging on all cylinders so far tonight. 20 more minutes remaining here before we start. 20 more minutes of basketball remaining this evening. And again, don't forget the home opener for Javelina men's basketball is tomorrow at 7 p.m. They will host the St. Mary's men right back here at the Spec, and you can catch it all through the Javelina Sports Network. And after that, these teams will have one more home doubleheader before they jet off onto the road for a while. Now on next Tuesday, the last game for both these squads before Thanksgiving, the women play at 5:30. The men play at around 7:30. Both teams will play Texas A&M International. After that, the women play 6 straight on the road, starting with their starting with a Saturday game against St. Edwards. After that, their conference schedule starts. They'll play Tarleton in Stephenville on November 29th. For the Javelina men, after their first 2 home games, they're on the road for 3 in a row. They'll also play St. Edwards and Tarleton before taking on Commerce on December 1st. They play at home against St. Edwards on December 5th. And then they have 2 more road games on the 15th and the 19th. Those are their only games for a month. December 5th, they play St. Edwards. Then they play Arkansas Tech and St. Mary's. And then they're back home on January 5th. But from December 5th to January 5th, 2 games for the men, both of them away from Kingsville. But we'll have every home contest for both teams via the Javelina Sports Network. Be sure to tune in to your home for Javelina basketball all season long, streaming on Javelina Athletics and via YouTube Live. And we'll have each game live and in living color. Don't miss it. We're going to take one more break, and we'll come right back with the second half, just a few minutes away from beginning here at the Steinke Physical Education Center. We'll be right back. The score, the Rattlers 45 and the Javelinas 23. The Rattlers back out on the floor, warming up for the start of the second half. St. Mary's leading by a score of 45-23. After shooting 50% in the first half and shooting 9 of 14 in the second quarter, St. Mary's stretched it was a 6-point lead into a 22-point edge. And for any team, that would be a tall mountain to climb. The Javelinas come out in the second half. I'm sure their objective probably started off will just be to win the third quarter and see where the game is after that. Javelinas stayed within striking distance of Black Hills State the 22nd ranked team in the country throughout that first game before eventually falling by 8 points. But they're going to have to find a way to try and cool down this St. Mary's team. And a lot of that's going to start with just getting a hand in people's face. And I can't help but be amused right now. St. Mary's has 2 basketballs stuck in the basket. Now they just unclog the drain. Had a basketball earlier get stuck between the iron and the backboard, and it took us a minute or two to get that problem fixed. And now with a couple of basketballs stuck in the net, took a minute to get that problem solved as well. Luckily, you only play with 1 basketball when the action goes live, so that's a problem that probably won't repeat itself tonight. 45-23 is the score between the Javelinas and the Rattlers. Caitlin Walla leading all scorers with 14 points. Ashley Porter and Meredith Markham each with 9. Markham, I expect to see back on the court in the second half after she had to sit out most of the first half with a couple of quick fouls. And Chloe Lane leading the Javelinas with 9 points. As far as the foul situation, Danielle Metter and Rachel Taps with 2 for the Javelinas. For St. Mary's, Markham, as I mentioned, with 2. Same thing for Soteria Banks. So no player on either team really in deep foul trouble. 2 fouls. You're always going to have a couple players with 2 fouls at the end of a half. And now the Javelinas, after a long discussion in the halftime locker room, back out on the floor. And Coach Wade Scott deciding that the extra time in the locker room to discuss the issues of the first half, more important than this team getting to get out and warm up before we start the second half of play. And now Tamuk coming out to inbound it with Taps, Metter, Thompson, Salinas, and Lane. For St. Mary's, Wilson, Walla, Porter, Torres, and Banks. Back out to Taps. Kings are trying to start the second half with a productive possession on offense. Lane to Thompson. Into Chloe Lane. Turnaround jump shot goes down. And Lane into double figures. She now has 11. Driving in as Porter almost lost it. What they call a jump ball. The arrow will keep possession with St. Mary's after Tamuk opened the half by inbounding the ball. Lane, 11 points for her. That's a new season high. She had 9 against Black Hill State. Wilson, Banks, pass stolen by Salinas. Salinas crosses half court, right side for Thompson, and Taps will set everything up. Tamuk trying to get this deficit under 20. Shot clock at 13. Thompson driving on Porter, left-handed layup off the backboard and in. And Renee Thompson has 7. Near side Torres. Wilson comes out to set the pick on Taps. Porter into Wilson, guarded by Taps. Basket no good, but she draws the foul. And for Rachel Taps, that is 3 on her. The fouls have kind of been chasing her today. She had 2 quick ones in the first half. And as a result, only played 6 minutes. And there's her third, less than 90 seconds into the third quarter. First free throw, good. Second one goes as well. So Wilson with 4 points. Lead back up to 20, 47-27. Thompson, Salinas, taps. Driving in, layup, no good. Banks with the rebound, taps, being very careful, does not want that fourth foul. And now we get a whistle for 3 seconds. Christina Kanya comes in for Victoria Salinas. Kanya making her third straight appearance. Taps will bring it up. Taps and Metter. Top of the key for Kanya. Up top, Metter. Back out, Kanya, but an offensive foul will turn her back over to the Rattlers. And both Javelina players who entered this half with 2 fouls have already picked up their third. Torres and the Rattlers trying to salt this game away early. Porter will try a 3. Good. And credit to the Rattlers. They've been able to find those open shots. Taps draws the foul on Torres. That's 2 on her. That'll be the first one on St. Mary's in quarter number 3. 2 shots for Rachel Taps. And first one no good. Taps entered this game just 3 of 8 from the charity stripe. You can make that 3 and 9 now. Second one does go through. For Taps, that's her first point of the evening. Aricia Porter. Wilson wants it inside. Kick ball from Lane. And a frustrated Porter spikes the basketball to the floor. 17 seconds on the shot clock as the Rattlers will inbound. Porter gets it back. Thompson guarding her. Torres feeds it into the corner. Another 3 is good. That one from Banks. Chimuk ahead quickly as Kanya has it and gets it back from Metter. Lane will try a long 2, wouldn't go. Rebounded by Porter. Torres back to Porter, and she carried it. Turnover, Chimuk ball. 25 points the lead now for St. Mary's, the largest of the night. 6:39 to go in the third quarter. Taps for Thompson. Wanted to try a 3, drives instead and hits the layup. And Thompson has 9 points. So we're trying to play tight to force a turnover. Torres thought about driving it in, now trapped by Lane and Metter. And they get a foul on Chloe Lane. That's 2 on her. And now Meredith Markham makes an appearance for the first time since the first quarter. Into Wilson, guarded by Lane. Shot right over her for the layup. Wilson has 6 points. Taps driving in on Markham. Shot no good, but the foul is drawn. And I believe that'll be the third one on Markham. No, instead they're going to call that on Aricia Porter. That's 2 on her. 2 shots for Taps. This is not a St. Mary's team with a ton of length, especially at the guard spots. First free throw by Taps is no good. You have Torres and Markham, who are both 5'4". Culliver measures the same. Porter's 5'6", but when you can shoot like this team has shot tonight, height doesn't really matter a whole lot. Second free throw by Taps is good. And Solis will check back in. Markham brings it up, trying to cut along the baseline. Left side, Porter with it. Gets a pick by Walla. Inside for Wilson, blocked by Lane. Lane, right-handed layup and air ball. And Wilson says, I'm not touching that. I'm going to let it go out of bounds. St. Mary's basketball. And Thomas in for Walla. Walla still leading all players with 14 points. Porter with 12, 11 for Lane for the Javelinas. Porter dribbling right. Banks guarded by Solis. Back to the right, puts up a jump shot, won't go. Boarded by Taps. Kingsville trailing by 24, trying to find some offense. Solis in, out for Lane. Almost has it stolen. Now Lane trying to drive in, taken right out of her hands by Wilson. And a whistle, a double dribble will turn it over to Tamuk. And with 4:55, we'll take a quick break here in the third quarter. 55-31 the lead for the Rattlers. This is the Javelina Sports Network. Javelina basketball with 4:55 to go before we hit the fourth quarter. Taps to Kanya, and now Taps gets it back, guarded by Markham. Near side Solis. Kanya. Good defense so far by St. Mary's. Hutchins inside, out for a three for Taps. Would now get a rebound, though, comes right to Hutchins, but she was out of bounds. Javelinas with 14 turnovers so far in this game, 11 for St. Mary's. Porter, who has 12 points, looking for an open teammate. In for Thomas, tosses it back out. Markham, left side, Wilson, another layup. Wilson has been killing the Javelinas on the inside here in the third quarter. She's got 8 points. Under 4 minutes to play in the third quarter. Thompson Kanya, Solis, Hutchins. Left side along the baseline for Taps. In for Solis. Up for a layup that rolls in. Good defense, but well played by Solis to pick up the 2 points. Markham on the near side. Taps playing defense. Banks to the free throw line. Back out to Markham. Banks gets it back. Left open for a 3. That one's no good. Taps fighting for the board, but a foul is whistled. I believe they'll get Thomas. By my count, that's the 3rd foul for St. Mary's. That's 1 on Thomas. Wanji and Culver come back in, replacing Wilson and Porter. And Wilson has earned a rest. Great 3rd quarter for the sophomore from Fredericksburg. Kingsville trailing by 24. Taps and the Javelinas trying to get something going. Another turnover will give it back to St. Mary's. They're outscoring the Javelinas in this quarter 12-10. That was Metter's 4th turnover of the night. Kanya preparing to check back in. Banks gives to Culver. Banks on the near side. Culver driving in. Back out to Markham. And a 3-second violation gives it back to the team in white. Kanya in for Thompson. Thompson has 9 points so far in this game. And she needs 1 more to reach double figures for the 2nd consecutive contest. Taps on the far side. Kanya comes toward the top of the key. Back to Rachel Taps. Near side, Solis thought about a 3, instead drives in, but a foul is called on the floor. And that one will be on Banks. That's 3 on her. It's also the 4th on St. Mary's, the 2:32 mark. Kanya. Top of the key for Rachel Taps. Metter on the far side. She has 4 points so far tonight. Pick set by Hutchins. Taps now. Hutchins wants it on the inside left block. Hutchins looking for her first points tonight. Passes it out to Kanya. 10 to shoot. Back out. Open is Solis driving in. Back to Kanya. 3 to shoot. Metter gonna have to get one off here. Right-handed layup is good at the buzzer. And now, I wonder if the officials are going to want to check to see if that shot got off in time. It was very close. And the officials calling for time. Both teams headed to the bench. The score for right now is 57-35. We'll see if that bucket stands. That would be the 2nd best of the night for Danielle Metter. And the officials checking the replay system to our left. John Montoya and Colby Sims on top of that. As we are under 2 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, St. Mary's still shooting better than 50%, 51.4. In the 3rd quarter, they are 4 of 7 from the floor. They've hit 2 of 3 3-pointers. St. Mary's has hit 9 of their last 14 3-point attempts in this game. And I'm sure for Wade Scott, he would say that it just comes down to getting a hand in the face of the opposition. But the Hogs have done that tonight. St. Mary's has really just been on point with their shots. officials checking the slow-mo. On the replay on the scorer's table to our left. And looks like they have their call. And the basket counts, and the officials in a hurry to get the teams out of their huddle. So Metter with 6 points now. And Tamuk knocks 2 more off of the deficit. Lead for St. Mary's has gotten as large as 26.
Up the sideline, up the sideline.
Markham, Thomas, Banks. Left for Culliver. Pick set by Thomas. Thomas gets it back wide open for a 3, no good. Up high for the rebound as Rachel taps. Ahead to Metter. Driving it on Thomas. Wide open Solis, but good close by Markham. Pass for Hutchins off the mark, out of bounds, off of St. Mary's. The Hogs will retain possession. Chloe Lane comes back in. And someone has to go off, and that's Nicole Hutchins.
14's a shooter.
Kanya on the far side. Solis taps. Pass for Taps. Knocked away by Markham. It goes out of bounds, but Tamuk now with just 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Taps, Kanya, Lane, Metter, and Solis are on the floor for the Javelinas. Markham, Thomas, Culliver, Banks, and Wanji on the floor for St. Mary's. Kanya in for Metter. Right side, a 3 from Solis, an air ball. And with the shot, with that not touching the rim, the shot clock violation gives possession to St. Mary's. 1:07 to go before we enter the 4th quarter. Culliver to Banks. Banks driving a left-handed layup, no good. Disrupted well by Kanya. Lane moving ahead now, slowing it down as St. Mary's defenders catch up. Lane, good cut by Taps. Near side, Kanya gets her defender in the air. Jump shot, no good. Rebounded by Markham, and that, I believe, will be a foul on Metter. That's 4 on her. And both teams now with 4. Thompson and Payne come in. And Wade Scott sends Taps and Metter to the bench. Markham with 9 points so far. Culliver on the far side, driving past Thompson. Now into Wanji. And another 3-second violation. St. Mary's had more than one of those tonight. But I think they'll take the bad with the good tonight. There's been far more good for them. They're up by 22. Javelinas can hold for the last shot here in the 3rd quarter. And a 3-pointer would bring them to within 19. And Coach James Martin's yelling the instructions into his student athletes. 3 from Lane from straight on, would not go. Just rolled off the rim. Markham brings it up, defended. Now a pass deflected by Kanya. Half-court shot, air ball. But the Rattlers will go into the 4th quarter holding a 22-point lead, 57-35. Again, preparing to check back in is Aricia Porter. 57-35 is the score. We will have the 4th quarter when we come back on the Javelina Sports Network. fourth quarter set to begin here at the Steinke Physical Education Center at St. Mary's Rattlers with a 22-point lead over the Texas A&M-Kingsville Javelinas. Reve Payne starting off the quarter with the basketball, guarded by Meredith Markham. Top of the key for Brene Thompson. She'll put up a three, no good. Rebound right to Solis, wants to go back up. Shot no good, but she drew a foul. Javelinas just 3 of 13 from beyond the arc in this game. And that foul, the third one on Meredith Markham. The free throw by Solis is good. Free throw no good, rebounded by St. Mary's. Solis with 3 points this evening. Porter driving in, wild layup does not go, but she'll go to the free throw line. And that's on Christina Kanya. And Porter to shoot 2. And first free throw is good. Second one by Porter. That one goes through as well. Aricia Porter now tied for a game high with 14 points. Red Payne on the far side. Christina Kanya up top. Back to Chloe Lane. Payne. Shot clock at 15. So Lees in, runs over her defender and gets called for an offensive foul. I dare say that was a bit of a flop from Maya Culliver, but she got the call. And that's turnover number 17 for the Javelinas. Culliver on the near side. Porter gets it. Markham looking to get into double figures. Gets it back. Thought about a three, now driving in. Up top, Porter, guarded by Solis. 7 to shoot. Near side, Markham. Markham will try the jumper, no good. Rebounded by Payne. Payne slows it down. The Hogs really have not been able to run the fast break tonight. Thompson driving in, up and under layup, rolls out. And neither team, as a matter of fact, let's look at the stats with any fast break points this evening. Porter in, and a foul drawn just as Thomas was getting rid of the ball. That one will be on Brene Thompson. That's 2 on her. And Bridget Upton comes in for Reve Payne. 3 fouls in the Javelinas so far in this one. Markham left for Porter. Into the corner. Culliver will try a 3. That one no good. Rebounded by Solis, who was fouled by Thomas. 59-36 to score here in the fourth and final quarter. Lane to Kanya. Solis near the free throw line. Driving in, can't get the layup to go, but she'll go to the free throw line once again. And Solis, one of 2 freshmen on this team, a redshirt freshman. And the first free throw is good. Solis, a freshman from San Angelo, Texas. Soteria Banks into the game for Crystal. Oh, no. Thomas thought she was coming out. It was Meredith Markham who actually was going to get a rest. And only 2 players have not seen the floor for Jason Martin so far in this game. As Solis' second free throw is good. And those 2 are Brianna Ford and Sydney Hardeman, a couple of freshman guards. 59-38 is the score here in the fourth quarter, 7:52 to go in regulation. Javelinas have been outscored in every quarter to this point. They have a slim 3-2 edge here in the fourth quarter with a 7:52 to go. Jamuk scored the first 7 points of this game. St. Mary's then went on a 7-3 run, and the Javelinas have not been able to regain control since then. St. Mary's shooting it better than 46% for the Javelinas, their percentage at 33.3. And St. Mary's also 11 of 23 from beyond the arc, and that really is probably the biggest difference in this game. St. Mary's 11 of 23, the Javelinas 3 of 13. Rattlers have also out-rebounded the Javelinas 26-20 in terms of turnovers. What was a little bit of a larger discrepancy, now slightly closer, 17-13. Javelinas -4 in that category. Porter carries it across half court. Culliver wanted to shoot it. Instead it comes near side for Banks. Getting it back is Porter, 7 to shoot. Left side, Culliver. Banks will try a 3. That won't go. Rebounded by Solis. And Brianna Solis trying to put in some quality minutes here in the fourth quarter. And an illegal pick called on Brianna Solis. And for the Javelinas, that's their 4th foul of the quarter. Porter near side for Culliver. Giving it left for Banks. Into the corner for Porter. She'll put up a tray. Will not go. Another rebound for Solis. And I believe they got Wanji for a foul as well. That one goes on Wanji. That's her first, and that will not be 2 shots, as St. Mary's is still 1 short of moving into the bonus. Lane for Thompson. Trailing by 21. Thompson with a shot that gets blocked. That will be 2 free throws for the Javelinas. That's another one on Audrey Wanji, the sophomore from Houston. And Kingsville with a chance to get this deficit under 20 points. First free throw good. And Bryce Thompson in double figures. She's got 10. And the second one is good as well. She's got 11 points in this game. Her season high last year was 11. She had 13 in Tamook's win over Shadron State. Culliver on the left side. Gets it back. And a whistle on a foul against Christina Kanya. And that's 2 on her. And now both teams are in the bonus. First one by Culliver is up and good. And Hannah Wilson getting ready to check back in. She needs one more bucket to reach 10 points. Or I should say one more shot from the field would give her at least 11. Culver's second one is no good. She has 6 points. The lead is 20 for St. Mary's. Thompson corner for Kanya. Thompson gets it back, trying to get it inside to Solis. Now Kanya does so. Back out to Kanya. She'll put up a 3. That one won't go. Solis, though, fights for the rebound, tosses it back out. Meadow thought about a 3. Left for Thompson. She'll try a triple. That one doesn't go. Rebounded by Porter. Porter guarded closely by Thompson. Lost the handle on the ball, but gets it back now as two Javelinas in her face, but Culver comes to her aid. Into the paint for Wilson. 7 to shoot. Banks guarded by Metter. A fadeaway off the rim. No good. Laying the board. Javelina's trying to build some momentum here midway through the fourth quarter. Lane left side. A long 3 in and out. Lane has 11. That is tied with Thompson for a team high. Culver left side. Wanji a jumper, no good. Another rebound for Chloe Lane. Lane 11 points, 6 rebounds. Good night for the senior. And more players preparing to check in for both sides. Thompson drives in left-handed, layup good. 13 points in consecutive games now for Brene Thompson. Banks to Wilson. Layup over. Kanya no good. Tipping it to herself is Wanji. She wants to go back up, but she draws the foul instead. I had mentioned before, St. Mary's a team without a ton of length, but right there, Wanji and Wilson just too tall for the Javelina players on the floor. And with players checking in for both sides, we'll take our last time out of the night. 60-42, the lead for St. Mary's. We'll be right back on the Javelina Sports Network. RG Wanji beginning the final 4:26 of regulation at the free throw line, trying to get on the score sheet for the first time tonight. First free throw, no good. That foul on Kanya was her 3rd of the night. Second free throw good. So now every player who has seen the court has contributed at least a point to St. Mary's cause this evening. Lydia Gural, Brene Thompson, Danielle Metter, Brianna Solis, Christina Kanya are the 5 on the floor for Wade Scott right now to move trailing by 19. Left corner, Kanya a 3, would not go. Metter takes the ribbon away from Gural, and now a whistle and the ball and a foul against the Javelinas. Two Javelinas took the ball away from each other. And now a foul on Metter. That'll be the 5th on Metter. And Metter been in foul trouble all night. Fouls out there. And Angelica Wall making her first appearance of the evening. Richard Jr. guard from Pueblo, Colorado. Free throw no good by Culliver. Culliver pushes her team's lead back to 20. She's got 7 points this evening, 4 of 6 from the free throw line to go along with the three-pointer. Thompson driving in, layup high, and it finds its way through the twine. So Thompson, a new career high with 15 this evening. Left side, Culliver. Kingsville within 18 here in the closing minutes of regulation. Banks guarded closely by Solis into the corner. Now Culliver on the wing. And an illegal screen called against Crystal Thomas. That's 2 on her. Salinas in for Kanya. Now with the foul by the offensive team, there are no free throws, even though St. Mary's is in the penalty. Both teams are, as a matter of fact. Inbounded to Thompson. Right side, Garral thought about the 3. Now for Wall into the corner, pass to no one. Out of bounds to St. Mary's. I think she thought she was going to find Solis there, but the pass and the intended receiver were not in the same place. Maya Culliver on the left side. She's got 7 this evening. Into the corner for Banks. Guarded by Garral. Has it taken away by Salinas. And Salinas wisely slows it down as quickly caught up to by Soteria Banks. And Renee Thompson gets a pick as she moves to the right now, back to the left. Into the corner, Salinas will try a tray and hit it. 6 points for Salinas. The Hogs within 15. This is the closest this game has been since the second quarter. Banks driving in for an open jumper, no good. Wilson there for the board. The putback won't go. Salinas corrals the rebound. Thompson, left for Garral, looking for her first three-pointer of the season. Won't take it right there. Thompson, driving left, is fouled by Culliver. And that'll put Chimook on the free throw line. That's probably not what Coach Jason Martins wanted. It's a chance for the Hogs to get points without using up the clock. Thompson's free throw is no good. Audrey Wanji in. Soteria Banks comes out. That foul on Culliver was her second. Second free throw by Thompson. That one just wouldn't cooperate. She misses them both. Still a 15-point game. Culliver almost lost possession and then over and back. And Coach Martin's not happy with the call. But it's Javelina ball regardless. Thompson on the near side. Chimook with the clock at 2 minutes. In for Solis, trying to back down. Wanji shot just didn't have enough mustard on it. Rebound to St. Mary's. Markham left for Culliver. Thomas. Wilson will give her a pick. In for Wanji. Turnaround hook shot. is waved off because of a travel. And Wanchi in shock at the call. But another turnover by St. Mary's. That's their 17th of the evening. Temuque with 20. And a warning against coach Jason Martins with 95 seconds left in regulation. And Temuque will resume this possession with 24 seconds on the shot clock. So Lee's driving in on Wanji, looking for the layup. No good. Good defense by the senior forward. Ahead to Culver. She'll try a wide open three. No good. Skying for the board is Crystal Thomas. She'll bring it back out. And if I'm St. Mary's, I'm not taking this shot until I absolutely have to. Into Wilson. Back out Markham. St. Mary's still working for a shot. Culver on the left wing. Smart play by her, just holding on to the basketball. In for Wanji. Hook shot off the backboard and in. She's got 3 points. And I believe every player from St. Mary's, yes, every single player for the Rattlers has made at least one shot from the floor. Thompson with the game clock at 45. Wall will try a three. That's too long. Markham on the far side. The Javelinas will fall to 1-2 on the season for the Rattlers. Sabri tries in the second time tonight. They've hit a triple off the backboard. That one coming from Crystal Thomas. Renee Thompson, jumper and good. And if there's one bright spot for the Javelinas tonight, it has been Brene Thompson. She's got 17 this evening. That's a career high for her. And she is 6 of 9 from the field. And St. Mary's, no need to take a shot here. They do. Rebound Javelinas. They've got 5 seconds to get off one more. Salinas at the buzzer, no good. And that'll do it for this one. The final tonight from the Spec, the Rattlers 67 and the Javelinas 49. So Temuque takes their second loss of the year. They will again be back at home a week from today against Texas A&M International at 5:30 p.m. The start of a Javelina doubleheader against the Dust Devils. And you can catch that all here at the Spec or through JavelinaAthletics.com and YouTube Live. Javelinas, as I mentioned, at 1-2 on the season. The Rattlers go to 2-1. And just a difficult evening really all around for the Javelina. St. Mary's shooting 40% from the floor and 42.9% from the three-point range. And they were 50% from three in the third quarter, and in the second quarter they shot 7 of 11 from beyond the arc. Well, outscoring the Javelinas 25-9. The Hogs did outscore St. Mary's in the fourth quarter 14-11, so a little bit of a bright spot there, but other than that, St. Mary's wins the rebound battle 35-29. They were +3 in turnovers. They had 24 bench points compared to 13 for their hosts. And also they tallied up 10 steals. For St. Mary's, Walla and Porter with 14 points to lead the team. The game high, that belonged to Brene Thompson. She had 17. That's a new career high as a Javelina for the junior from Houston. 6 of 10 from the floor in this one. And Thompson has now scored in double figures in consecutive games. So if nothing else, the Javelinas appear to have found a scorer in Brene Thompson. The bad news for the Hogs, they have to wait a week to try and get the taste of this loss out of their mouth. As I mentioned, they're playing international a week from today. The Javelina men will be opening up the Spec for the first time this season tomorrow. They will play at 7 p.m. against the St. Mary's men's basketball team. You can catch that all here via the Javelina Sports Network. Thank you for tuning in to Texas A&M-Kingsville women's basketball this evening. My name is Mark and Sarah. Happy to have you with us for all 40 minutes tonight, and we will hopefully have you with us again tomorrow. Between now and then, take care and have a good night, everybody.